All right, howdy folks. This is Michigan Sasquatch with more musings of a madman. As you can see, these images that you will see are watermarked down here. That is in fact my name. I am a man named Lady. With such a name, is it any surprise when I take to the woods every once in a while, especially having been raised with three sisters? Anyway, I was looking through the archives, as I tend to do every once in a while, and reviewing images of the structure. Last I was up there was December 10th with Alan Kane. We were walking through the woods on the other side of the river from where we stand here, so I'm shooting from afar. I don't know, maybe 100 yards, 150 yards, more like 100, I would think. Anyway, just wanted to get a shot of this significant structure, which you may have seen before. You can look back in my videos and see other analyses of these. And I will be replaying one of those on the revisit for this structure. As I was recording it, I saw a little peeping primate back in this general direction, and I'll someday in the future, when time allows, do an analysis of that. Because there is a question whether or not it may be parallax or not. However, I don't think the parallax in this particular case was significant enough to discount the fact that it could in fact be a peeping primate. So anyway, back to the subject matter at hand here. We have back here something that caught my eye, and I'm going to zoom in and show you what I'm looking at here. I was looking at some anomalous black spots, and this one intrigued me because you have a couple of domes here that appear to be furry. If you look here, looks like it's got some straight standing fur, and it's kind of broken up right here, and I think that is just freestanding fur. So I'm taking a little closer look at it, and I'm thinking, if this is fur, if these were perhaps tops of heads, you can see that there are different colors. This black, this is a little brown. And if these are heads and they're looking our way, you would expect to see a forehead below that. But lo and behold, by golly, you can see a hairless, perhaps, skin here. And below that, I'm looking here, and I can interpret these as eyes. This clearly is a fallen tree or a pushed over tree. And what I'm seeing here, I believe, are two of the Sasquatch germane to this particular area, and that seem to be keeping close watch with this significant monument that we have discovered. If you see here, if you allow, that's, I believe, an eye. You see the whites of the eye there, and the iris and pupil there. Over here, another eye, iris and pupil there. It's a bit obscured here. And this one, of course, we're looking down, this could be another one, I believe it is. If this is another head, and this is another, the other of this pair of Sasquatch, I would be here. You can see somewhat of the white around in here, and this stick there, of course, is obscuring most of the eye. However, this certainly looks like fur up here, and this looks like a bare forehead. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. So I'm interpreting this as a pair of Sasquatch, keeping their cryptid distance, keeping an eye on me. This one seems to be looking what I presume to be Alan. He's further upstream as I was shooting from downstream position. What intrigues me most about this image, and actually got me a little excited, is if you look closely here, there's a little sawtooth kind of pattern here. I believe this is the hand of the darker one. And you look there, and here especially, you can see a defining nail, somewhat separate. So I'm interpreting these as fingers grabbing this log, if you will, and you have 1, 2, and perhaps 3 right there. I've seen that before in another image, and I can share that with you in a little bit. So I believe, and look closely here, you can step back and see the forest for the trees. I believe these are two Sasquatch in a very, oh darn it, leave it to me to screw it up. Keeping an eye on us as we are on the other side of the river. So I will show you another rendering I've taken this much of the image and reworked it, repixelated it, and it is there. Brighten it up a little bit. I'm looking at, again, what I interpret to be fur and peeping primates. You see the bare foreheads, eyes here, very low profile, tightly situated behind this log, and here are those, what I believe to be the fingers, and this is the nail there, nail here. This is a little more obscure, but I presume this to be another finger. Can you see what I'm seeing? I hope so, because I don't want to be the only crazy one here. So something to share with you before. You've seen this before. If you've seen my other videos, I've done an analysis of this little section here, and I have identified what I believe to be 9 individual Sasquatch. What I haven't yet shown the YouTube universe is this little section up here. I will zoom in on that for you, and you tell me what you see. I believe I'm looking at an apex predator there, perhaps the alpha male of this tribe. And I'm zooming in here. So you tell me, does this happen so in nature, or is this just coincidental? I'm looking at what I believe, if you can see, if your resolution on your screen is good enough and the brightness is adjusted properly, I'm interpreting this as a prominent brow, and below it, of course, eyes. You know, there's not a lot of difference in color here, but you can see enough contrast on here to detect the iris and pupil here. You know, this being the eye, and another. Looking at this one, this is, I think, a cute little devil. This may or may not be what I'm thinking it might be, but you know, it's fun to think that it is. This looks like a head, an arm, elbow, arm here. I don't know where his hand is extended, but you know, but this looks like he's kind of leaning back up against this giant, and this looks like he's sort of sitting in a sitting position. He's, I believe, standing on a stump, which is here. You can see the grain, and I will get before and after pictures. I'm going back up to this location in May. I will satisfy you skeptics and other folks out there. I hope some of you are not satisfiable whatsoever, but I'm thinking this is the big guy back there keeping an eye on his pride back here in this little huddle. Now, I mentioned the section I've studied here, and I've identified 9. I will show you that right here. This is that little section, and I am looking at a black-faced primate here. You see the nasal flare, eyes. He's looking up here. If you've seen my prior video, A Sasquatch Tribe, Cryptids Unite, you'll know that I interpret this as a baby. I mean, seriously, you can see enough of this to make out a body, foot, there's a little thumb, 2 eyes here, mouth, and of course this one back here, this is the prominent brow. Where have we seen this before? Up at that apex predator, the prominent brow, very defined. You can see it cuts down here, whites of the eye, iris and pupil here. And this one is my favorite because I just think it's a beautiful creation. Here we have its pupil, upper lid. This is the nose here. It's got a hand of this one. Again, prominent brow here. And I know this image is kind of fuzzy, not really blurry, but this is a much smaller part of a much larger image. I have invested in 2x extender for my 200mm lens. So when I do see one of these huddles once again in the valley floor, I will do my due diligence, if you will, with still images, as well as some video. And I also invested in a drone. So when I see one of these huddles like this, I'm going to set, you know, like I said, I'm going to do my due diligence with documentation, and I'm going to set the drone out and send it up over and above and slowly lower it with the hopes, and I don't really care to molest these in any way, however, we are on a quest here, and we wish to document and establish recognition for this species. I'll take that drone and slowly go over it and lower it, and with the hopes that they will scatter. I will shoot that in 4K, and should I meet my objective this May, I think you all will be amazed. Or I'm just crazy. I've been accused of worse. So anyway, just a little time before I get my day started here. Thanks for your time and patience and consideration. I do believe that these guys see us most every time we're out in the woods. And if we're lucky enough to capture them, well, we can bring more stuff to you like this. I'm telling you, that is fur. And this looks like bare foreheads, and these do look like eyes. And, you know, it just kind of makes sense. Quite plausible that everything else falls into place, and these are fingers. And this is a peeping pair of primate. So, have I covered all my bases? I think I may have. I don't want to beat a horse with a dead horse here. So anyway, there you go. Another photo analysis of a musing madman. Hope you enjoyed. Take care, be well, and God bless you all. Bye.